What is going on, everybody? It is episode 547 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Yesterday's show is definitely going to be a tough act to follow, but we'll try our best. It's just us alone in the studio once again.
Oh, I like the...
it's nice to be back to normal, in a way.
I appreciate the calm, you know,
yeah.
I do. It's I got to get my energy back up, but I appreciate the calm after such a hectic day where you're constantly kind of pushing buttons. We didn't even get into the 70 words that you're not supposed to say.
We had this whole thing planned that, you know, there are a bunch of phrases such as hip hip hooray that are not woke anymore, and you can't say them anymore because they have racist origins, and then we just forgot. Yep. Entirely and planned a normal show, so
it came to me today,
late.
like literally almost.
Episode 600 though. We'll keep it for then.
I'm sure
it'll be here before we know it. We're joking about it, but it will creep up on us.
I'm sure we'll remember. I can't even remember what I had for dinner yesterday. Like I said, I go and do a show with Colonel Kurtz on Mondays at 9 p.m. and when I'm talking about like what we talked about on our show today, I'm like,
how did that go?
The show went fine yesterday. Yesterday was a lot of fun, but for the most part, most days, like, so what'd you talk about today? I'm like, no clue. You'd have to go check yourself. I have no idea. That was like 4 hours ago. Might as well be a lifetime ago.
Also, it snowed today.
Yes.
It's
not a lot. You could have slud on the ground if you're not careful.
It was the texture of a slushy.
Yes.
Everywhere. Disgusting.
Hard on the windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Snow like that. So.
But also we had pizza because it's Fat Tuesday.
Oh yeah. Do you want to explain to the non-religious folks what?
I mean, I think a lot of people know this. This is Fat Tuesday. This is the day before Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent. And I guess it's just called Fat Tuesday because you're supposed to pig out on all of the food that you're about to give up. It's also called Shrove Tuesday. You're supposed to get shriven by going to confession.
Okay.
That's getting shriven. I didn't know that until
I didn't know what Fat Tuesday... Like, I'd never heard the term Fat Tuesday before,
you're
so I'm
supposed
sure you're
to,
informing at least some
like
people.
Mardi Gras.
Okay.
You're also supposed to eat pancakes. I think that's one other tradition, and Cajun food because... New Orleans. Yeah.
Cool.
So I didn't have any pancakes, but we had pizza.
Good enough. I think I don't remember who it was. It might have been Shane H. Wilder sent me a meme. One of my favorite. Okay. So after I quit soda, I started following all of these like soda rumor accounts, which are a mixture of like either new flavors that are supposedly going to come out in different regions, or it's fake pictures of not real drinks. And one of them was like Mountain Dew Code Bread.
Well, apparently the pictures of that Baja Blast pie were actually not going to shelves.
Oh, so we're fake news.
Well, what's new with us being fake news? But yeah, it's from their test kitchen.
Okay.
Like Mountain Dew.
There is a Taco Bell test kitchen?
No, probably
or
for
is it
Taco
a
Bell,
Mountain Dew
yes.
test kitchen?
Now I'm confused, but I think it was the Mountain Dew test kitchen. But what owns Mountain Dew? What's the company?
It's Pepsi. It's Pepsi.
Yeah. Pepsi owns it. So Pepsi, I would guess, has a test kitchen, and that's the kind of insane stuff that they invent in it.
That job sounds awesome.
It does, but you probably have to have like extensive knowledge of chemistry, right?
That sucks. Like I quit soda in December, right? And so I immediately started following these accounts. It's like because you know, like if you ever like travel, if you go across the country in a car, you'll get stuff that are available, like stuff at gas stations that's available just in that region that you'll never find at the gas stations by your house. So like it's like somehow my algorithm knew as soon as I decided to quit soda, my computer's like saying, "Hey, look at this. Doesn't that look good?" And then immediately after that, SodaStream's like, "We're now making Mountain Dew SodaStream," and I'm like, "Fuck."
What does that mean?
SodaStream is like the
you have a
water.
SodaStream.
Yeah, I have a. So now you can get Mountain Dew SodaStream, syrup, and then I'm like, just in time for me to quit. So I bought some anyways. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it just in case I ever decide to go back.
In case you ever cave, which
yes.
because you have it, you will.
Well, I figured by summer, once I'm skating every day, I can
As
ease up on
a
it.
treat.
Yes, I can ease up on it a little bit. But yeah, guys, now that we're off on this fantastic tangent to start the show, I want to first ask you to please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already, and like this video as well. We did just pass 100,000 subscribers, which is a fantastic thing for us. So thank you so much for that, guys. But share these videos out with your friends so that more people can come in here, hang out, and watch this show, and hopefully they like it and they share it with their friends. Also, remember, all super chats $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those super chats right then and there, and then we will do our best to get back on topic. Perhaps you have thoughts on all of this stuff. Also, I saw chili cheese Frito beef jerky from Jack Link's, which was the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
I'm trying to put all of those words together right now. Yeah. Chili cheese Frito beef jerky.
Yes. They also make...
I'm going to vomit.
They also make, so they make, like... Flaming Hot Cheetos. They made Flaming Hot Cheeto beef jerky.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I didn't try the beef jerky. I didn't try the Flaming Hot Cheeto one, but the chili cheese Frito one was really, really good. It was good.
You're gonna make me sick. I can't work under these conditions.
You know, it's the best way to start the show. So guys, remember all those things, like the video, share the video, all that stuff. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Number one being a prophecy has been foretold that apparently the Super Bowl is just the first step in many, in a repeat of 2020. Everything's coming together. Yes. Trump versus Biden.
It's all happening, it's all real.
And none of it is definitely fake news. It's definitely not fake news, guys. So we're going to get into that. It's going to be a lot of fun to discuss that. We're also going to talk about this insane report. Chris Gore did a video for Film Threat the other day breaking down Amazon's DEI policy. We're going to go through that specifically. We're going to go through the storytelling element of their new DEI policy, which I promise you guys we'll get a laugh at how absolutely absurd all of this is. So we got that. We're also going to talk about a comedian who went viral the other day, a comedian named David Lucas, who he got in a little bit of trouble with the internet and with some people at his show because he made jokes about the death of George Floyd, and they were not happy with these jokes. You can't make jokes anymore. It
was because he was getting heckled in the first place, and I wish I knew what he was getting heckled for before that joke was made. Yeah. But it seems like he's taking it pretty well.
Yeah.
Making fun of the people who were like, don't laugh at his jokes.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
I'm trying to think about, like...
I'm going to cry.
It's just one of those things where I feel like today... maybe it's just a problem for the top level of comedians, but I feel like when you go see a comedian now, you have a general idea of what you're going to get.
Yeah, I guess that this guy, because he's at a certain level where he's still making a name for himself, people would go to his show or they would go to a comedy club and not really know what he's about. Yeah,
and it was good. Like I went through his Instagram and watched a bunch of his clips. It's good stuff, but it's funny because like I think about it because I guess also like I don't watch endless comedy specials. The comedians that I know off the top of my head are just the ones that are kind of at that higher level now, not like the Chappelles and stuff, but like an Andrew Schultz is a comedian that I think of, or a Jeff Dye or somebody like that. There's a lot of them, but in general, like when you know these people, their personalities are very much attached to their humor, so you know what you're gonna get. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into that. We got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun today. Again, we're still a bit hungover from episode 546 yesterday.
Not literally. We weren't drinking on stream.
Hungover because it was a longer episode. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hang out with us today, guys. We hope you're all enjoying it. So if you're ready, Mary, we can just go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? All right. First things first, not only was the Super Bowl on Sunday, it was also in the Super Bowl did really, really well, which we'll get into later. Mm-hmm. What did not do well was the box office, which was the worst Super Bowl weekend in decades outside of COVID. I do like that they always have to bring up COVID because it's their cope.
It's just not a stacked box office this month anyway. I mean, Madam Web is obviously from a big studio, but it's going to flop.
Oh yeah. And the numbers bear that out.
Argyle, unfortunately, as much love we had for Argyle, it's doing badly. Yep. Then there's also this Lisa Frankenstein movie.
That was the new Diablo Cody movie.
Yeah.
Which she apparently said is in the same universe as Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, which...
Universe?
I don't know. Is there going to be a Jennifer's body cinematic universe now?
Yes, if it's just endless clips of Megan Fox.
But there's no Megan Fox in Lisa Frankenstein. Yeah. And then there's going to be this lesbian road trip movie later this month called Drive Away Dolls.
Doesn't excite me.
Yeah, no. So it's not going to be good for the box office this month, it looks like.
The last time revenue was lower was several instances in the mid to late 80s.
Okay.
80s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Argyle made $6.5 million.
That's it on a $200 million budget.
Yikes.
It's not looking good for it.
Yikes. Well, there's obviously not going to be a sequel. We already know that.
Which is sad because we enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
But so bad box office, but it's not just that. If you guys remember, about a month ago, we talked about how Disney hurting for content right now because of the strikes over the summer. They decided to re-release a bunch of these Pixar movies that they ended up putting straight to DVD, but it's not straight to DVD. It's straight to Disney Plus,
which is even worse.
The same thing.
They're regurgitating all of these flops from Pixar.
So they put out Turning Red. That, of course, is the movie about,
periods.
I guess they would call it a coming of age movie.
Okay, but look, this is a Pixar movie. The audience is supposed to be children, right? Yep. Children who haven't reached puberty. So how are they supposed to understand the metaphor about periods? Yep. And why would you need to teach children about something like that when that should be the role of their parents?
Because it's not actually for kids. It's for middle-aged women with no kids to watch.
Yeah, pretty much. They're admitting it. They're saying the quiet part out loud.
But it made about $343 per screen. Now, this is, of course, John Nolte, who we love John Nolte here. He's hilarious.
He's always calling Disney the Disney Grooming Syndicate.
And this is what he says. He says, listen, I understand that Turning Red has been available on Disney Plus for a few years now. No one expected it to gross $100 million or even $20 million, but only a little over $500,000 in 1,563 theaters? Holy moly, that sucks. Disney sucks. I love his writing.
This is just his diary.
Yes.
I feel like he treats his articles as his diary to let out all of his frustrations with Disney.
And Andrina, yes, you could call Turning Red a period piece.
Oh, I hate that. Drink every time Mary says she hates something.
Andrina said a Pixar period movie. No, it's a period piece. That's what it is.
Awful.
So I didn't expect it to do well. That's on par. Look, it was in.
So what's the next
Disney
one
Plus.
they're re-releasing?
So what they did, Soul?
They're gonna re-release Luca.
Luca, that's the next one.
And then they already did Soul.
And Onward?
No, those three.
Soul, yeah.
Those three.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see how that one does.
People liked Soul, but who cares?
The box office is bad right now. The one good thing that the Hollywood seems to have going for it, Deadpool 3 dethrones Spider-Man No Way Home as the most viewed trailer within 24 hours.
365 million.
Yep, 365 million views, which is a lot. It's a lot of views.
What did you think of the trailer?
It was fine. Look, there seemed to be a couple of discussions that came out of this trailer. One was, will this save the MCU? No,
it's not the MCU.
Yes, it is. He's now being folded. Yes, he's not because they bought 20th Century Fox, so he is now going to be officially. But that's why he references Disney in the movie. But no, I don't believe that this will save the MCU. Just making even if this movie is amazing, if Spider-Man No Way Home couldn't save the MCU after Endgame, then I don't believe this can. That doesn't mean it won't be a good movie, but they've had too many mediocre films lately. Now, I actually read a really good thread the other day of just a very passionate, diehard MCU fan who made his case for why he doesn't think the MCU is in all that bad a shape. Now, I don't agree with him on most parts, mainly because most of the points he was making didn't take into account inflation or the size of the budgets that are on these movies that in what they're making, right? So he's pointing out like what the box offices were for similar movies in previous phases of the MCU, not realizing that the budgets on all of these movies have ballooned and inflation has caused the profit to just drop. It's also ignoring the fact that there was zero desire to go see the Marvels. And his point being, he goes, I actually thought we would cover this at one point on the show, but it ended up just falling by the wayside, was that the Marvels is getting like this whole resurgence on Disney Plus where people are saying like, I really wish I had gone and seen this in theaters.
Those are bot accounts for sure.
And a good
employed by Disney.
A lot of them could be bot accounts, but also it's one of those things where it's like, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Right?
You didn't.
And
you didn't see it in theaters.
A movie that's fun on a streaming service is not the same as a movie you're willing to pay $100 or $200 to go see. Right?
Wait, why would they pay $100?
Well, I'm saying if you go with a family, if you and your family
yeah.
go, you're paying a couple $100s to go see a movie.
It's insane.
I think when we were there last time, me and one other person, like food was like $63. Just food. So with ticket, and that's 2 people. So if you got a family, right?
Yeah.
Was the Marvels $200 worth of food and tickets good? No, I don't think it was. And it ignores the general lethargy that's around the brand right now.
When we ask normal people, when was the last time that you went to the movie theater? It's usually years.
Yes.
Sometimes over a decade.
Yep.
We're an anomaly, obviously, and our movie tickets are a company expense. But I definitely wouldn't be going to see the Marvels of my own accord.
So that's one argument. The other discussion that seems to be happening online is they're pissed because people like the humor when Deadpool does it, but they don't like it when She-Hulk does it.
Yeah, that turned into a whole thing, a whole row on Twitter that I read through. And they're basically saying that it's,
she breaks the fourth wall. She makes sexual jokes too.
It's
blah,
sexist.
Blah, blah.
It's a sexist double standard. They're also saying that, her character was equally like sexualized.
Yes.
As Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
But it's seen as something crass when it's a female character.
I didn't think they needed to wait to show Wolverine till the end with a movie with the name like Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I didn't think they needed to do that.
They didn't even show his face, did they?
No. So it's still it'll be fun to go watch. I'm sure it'll be fun. I do tend to think that that both of the Deadpool movies, though I like the first one way more. Like I've seen the first one way more than I've seen the second one. The humor generally lands for me, but I found the second one, it didn't have any rewatch, like it didn't have any replay value.
I have an irrational distaste for Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
I don't know why.
You should get a Mint Mobile.
Maybe it's just my contrarian nature coming
people
out.
like him,
people like Ryan Reynolds. I hate him.
Did you ever see Van Wilder?
No.
Van Wilder's if you want to know what the basis was for every performance he ever gave, it's based off his Van Wilder character.
Well, doesn't that just mean he's not creative?
That's good work if you can get it.
It just means that he plays Ryan Reynolds.
It did show up. It's funny because it did show up. I rewatched Hobbs and Shaw like 2 weeks ago, and I for some reason I just memory hold this whole movie because I had a lot of fun with it, and Ryan Reynolds is in it, and for some reason I thought he was in it for like a cameo of like 10 seconds. He's got like 6 minutes worth of screen time. It's still a cameo, but he really does just kind of play Ryan Reynolds in everything. Doesn't bother me. For him, it doesn't bother me.
What if he had played Ken?
That would have worked.
Do you think that was on the drawing board at one point?
Yes, I do. I absolutely believe that
would
have been on the drawing board. Him and Gosling got to be about the same age, right?
About, yeah.
Like in their 40s.
But for some reason, he just irks me. I don't know what it is.
I think it works more for Gosling because he's not an inherently funny actor. So playing the comedic role, not what I'm saying he can't do comedy. I'm saying that, you're going to look at him and you're going to think of other movies. Like you're going to think of a Blade Runner or any movie that he's done that you like of his where he's playing a more serious role.
I mean, he's obviously a better actor.
Yeah.
Right?
So
you agree with me on that, at least.
So like Ryan Reynolds doing his version of Ken, which would have just been Van Wilder Ken, probably wouldn't have hit the same way. They could have very easily done it with him as like a cameo, though. It would have been interesting to have him and Blake Lively do Ken and Barbie cameos.
That was a missed opportunity, but they were like, we can't have 2 tall, hot blondes in the Barbie movie. That would be
who are actually in love.
Too much.
Who are actually in love.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, you can't have Margot Robbie and Blake Lively both in the Barbie movie.
Again, I saw more pictures of Margot Robbie from it was like something really unimportant, like the Oscars luncheon. And every time I look at her and she's just smoking hot, and I'm like, this is not mid. Stop calling this lady mid.
They don't dress her well, though. They don't do her a lot of favors.
You know what it is? You know what it is? What it is, they feel bad for everybody else. They're like, we got to tone down
have to make her
hotness.
frumpy.
We got to tone down her hotness.
Yeah.
Her legs are too long. She's too good looking. We're going to have to tone her down.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yep. All right, guys. So we got a couple of Amazon things on the docket today. Number one being that there is a lawsuit coming down, a class action lawsuit against Amazon. If you don't know, recently, basically, if you have Amazon Prime, and I'm sure a lot of you do, you don't really have it for actual Amazon Prime, the video service. You have it so that you can get 2-day free shipping on stuff you don't need. That's what I have.
But they rope you into the streaming service at the same time.
And what they did was they had the streaming service got its ad tier added to it, and it's at the price of what it was before. So basically, what you were paying for before, getting you Amazon Prime free delivery, as well as, I guess you can also get Amazon Music and all that stuff. Again, I don't know anyone that actually uses Amazon Music, but you got ad-free Amazon Prime Video. Now, you opened up Amazon Prime a couple of days ago, and it said, like, do you want to still be ad-free? You got to pay $3 more. The problem was, what about all the people who pay for their Amazon Prime a year in advance? You can buy a year's supply, an annual subscription, not monthly. Well, that's what's causing the problems here. They're suing because they're like, look, I paid for 12 months of no ad Amazon Prime, and I'm getting ads now.
Right,
That's
exactly.
BS.
It's a joke how bad Amazon Prime Video is as a streaming service.
The actual IU is awful.
It's terrible just in that regard, but also if you filter for free content, if you just search for what's free, they show you stuff that you have to get a free trial for.
Yes.
Which also means, obviously,
at least they put it with
you forget to cancel it before the 14 days runs out.
At least they put the little yellow thing that says like buy or rent down there. One of the other things for a while, there was a point of time, now maybe I'm just misremembering this, but like all of the Prime video, the things that are on Prime have like a little Prime logo up in the corner. There was a time where they like removed that. So I would be like,
just to trick you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's awesome. So now look, they're like, they do have freebie and stuff on there. So it's like free with ads, but you then have to look for the thing that says free with ads. They're one of the streaming services right now that has leaned into their license. They're getting more content licensed back to them again. They're bringing back shows that were gone for a while because people actually want to watch stuff that isn't Amazon Prime content, because you can only watch Reacher a couple of times, or if you're a weirdo, you watch The Rings of Power or The Wheel of Time or something like that.
Wasn't Citadel
Citadel
their
was Amazon
spy
Prime.
series?
Yep.
Yeah,
And it was bad. And it was really, really bad. So this lawsuit, it says over 100. It says this was the default for over 100 million subscribers, and they filed this on Friday in a California federal court. They're claiming breach of contract and violations of state consumer protection laws on behalf of users who saw the terms of their subscriptions with Amazon change when it pivoted to making its ad tier the default.
Every time I see a class action lawsuit, I just think of the tweet that's like, how are you going to file a class action lawsuit? You got no class, you get no action, and you don't even own a suit.
I love it. So we'll have to wait and see.
They're justified. They definitely were scammed by Amazon, but that's, kind of comes with the territory.
All right, guys. So if you guys don't know, there's a big movie coming out tomorrow. Actually, we're going to see it. Madam Web is about to make its debut, and it is not looking good. It is debuted with a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe that is now dropped to 22. At least it was the last time I looked.
Yeah, some of these reviews are very scathing.
So here's the question. I put up a poll, ladies and gentlemen, today. I said, will Madam Web be bad, awful, so bad that it's good, or it's Morbin time? Right now, awful is winning with 30. They're not even in the mood to be sarcastic today.
It's not even so bad it's good where it could make a meme like Morbius.
Yes.
But this one review said, Madam Web and the Marvels are the Dumb and Dumber of female Marvel comic superhero movies. After the triumphs of Black Widow and Wakanda Forever, it's a travesty that Madam Web is a low point in wannabe feminist superhero films.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I was like, look, we're not gonna. I'm not really like looking. There's not going to be a whole lot to watch for this movie for. I'm willing to be entertained if it's entertaining, but it's got a budget of $80 million, right? So that means with marketing, It's budget of about $120 million if you use the formula that most people tend to use, budget times 1.5, which means that with its opening weekend, which is projected to be $20 to $25 million, it's got a very long way to go before it gets to that 240 to 250 break-even mark before it can even start to see any profit.
Yeah, not confirmed, but the meme is that Dakota Johnson got scammed into taking on this role because her agent told her that this was going to be putting her into the MCU, which at this point in time is not even something she would go for now, but back then she might have.
This was another review. This is from someone named Chris Parker. It says, Madam Web is an embarrassing mess. Talented actors wasted on probably the worst comic book movie I've ever seen, filled with atrocious dialogue, awkward editing, and all-around laughable structure. I sat through baffled scene by scene. Someone approved by this. There's no comma in there. The memes will redeem it. I don't know if it's really all that memeable. I did see somebody in the chat say it's Madam time.
Oh.
So in the chat, Unknown says Brett will like it. So, okay, I broke my rule. So normally I don't watch reviews before going to see a movie, but I don't have a whole ton of faith or hope for this movie anyways. So I decided to watch Jeremy Johns' review of this. I believe that Jeremy Johns is one of the best movie critics today. He's very much an everyman, and he's got a deep wealth of knowledge when it comes to film and gaming, but he's kind of no nonsense in how he portrays his reviews. And he said that the main character, Dakota Johnson, the character of Webb, is actually she's kind of a bitch, and she's a cat lady. And I was like, oh.
We'll see. We'll see if that's true, but
it's not just that, guys. So when he says awkward editing, he's not lying. First of all, let's see if I can find so I'm going to show you guys the awkward editing that they're talking about here. I kind of showed this to Mary earlier, and I was going to see if she could catch it, but watch the cut on this scene and tell me if this fills you with a lot of hope for this film.
Hi, sir. All right, I'm gonna just that. She's going into this flipped car and then sees herself in the car.
It's not her.
There are two of her.
There's two of her, right? And so that seems to be the consensus for this movie, is just really bad editing. And I just wonder, it kind of makes me laugh because I'm thinking of David Zaslav, who keeps getting in trouble for just canceling perfectly good movies. And Sony's like, fuck it. Put it out there. Who cares?
But Batgirl was supposedly worse than this.
Yes. So I laughed at that. That cut is just atrocious, and people were pointing that out.
This is the first clip they put out?
Yep, it says first clip for Madam Web.
This was the one they chose?
This is the one they chose.
This is the best they've got.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think it matters, because at the end of the day, what really matters is Sydney Sweeney. She may not be the star of this movie, but my goodness. So this was posted. It says Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson at the premiere of Madam Web. I laugh because all I can think about is how they keep saying that Hollywood needs to stop sexualizing women. And I'm looking at Dakota Johnson's dress, and I'm like,
it's literally see-through. Like it looks like she is just naked wearing chainmail.
Yes.
It's don't sexualize me.
I'm here for it.
Don't sexualize me.
I'm here for it.
Don't objectify me, but I'm naked.
I did see Critical Drinkers say they put Dakota Johnson next to the wrong actress, and I couldn't agree more.
Is Sydney Sweeney gonna be selling more tickets for this movie than its own star?
Yes.
At this point,
yes.
Hollywood Handle said,
what they should have done, there should have been no trailers. They should have just taken Sydney Sweeney in that dress and have her do a thing where she sits in front of a camera and says, "Go watch this movie. Go watch this movie," and it just zooms. It's smash cut zooms.
It's like MK Ultra.
Yes.
Mind control.
And there's like a thing going around like this. Go see Madam, and it kind of zooms in closer to her chest as it goes.
And we'll all just walk in zombified.
Yes, exactly.
The Hollywood Handle also posted a review calling it a clunky, poorly written, messy, sloppy movie packed with mediocre editing and performances. It had solid cinematography and an interesting concept, but couldn't be saved due to its terrible execution. I don't even think it was that great of a concept, though.
Yeah. And the other thing they point out is like she keeps not she keeps not wanting to save the other girls, which I laugh. It's like
well, it's like the Marvels trope where she dislikes her own sidekicks.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think that the same response is going to happen for Madam Web as it was for the Marvels, where people are going to say, if you disliked this movie, you are sexist?
Yes.
Because I feel like it's not going to be the same
won't be the
response
same level.
due to the fact that The Marvels is an MCU movie.
Yeah. It won't be the same. Also, Sydney Sweeney is kind of up in the air for most of them because they still don't like her because her parents were supposedly MAGA, which wasn't even true. It was just a themed birthday party. But
Make
she
60 great again.
Yeah, she gets labeled right there. So, we'll have to wait and see. We will, alas, go see this movie, and we will give our review. I would like nothing more than to be wrong about this and have a lot of fun. And it's not where I personally felt I would be spending my Valentine's Day at 8:50 on a Wednesday.
It's so late. No, I don't want to go. Brett, don't make me go.
I have you bought the tickets. This is up to you.
It is my fault.
You bought the tickets for this.
It's
so
my fault.
It's definitely not where I expected to be spending like a Wednesday because normally our movies are on Thursdays anyway, which is even worse because we're gonna get in Thursday. And we've got 2 more days of this week.
Just kill me now.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. Again, so here's an interesting question. So a lot of times, whenever critics hate a movie, a lot of people seem to jump to the defense of, well, if the critics hate it, then it must be good.
That's
right?
not true.
But now here, nobody's saying that. Nobody's making that assumption that just because the critics hate this one, the movie must be good. What they're saying is the movie is so bad, even the shill critics hate it.
What would they be shilling for, right? Because this isn't gonna draw the Disney shill.
It doesn't
critics.
matter. It's still mainstream. It's still big budget corporate.
Well, critics usually don't like the superhero genre, right?
They love Spider-Man. Granted, a lot of people like.
They love Miles Morales.
The Into the Spider-Verse, and No Way Home did really, really well, but No Way Home still exists in the MCU timeline. Yeah. So it's going to be really, really funny. Yes, we did mix up and not go and see Blood and Honey 2, which is what we should have done.
When is that? Is it the same release date?
Yes.
Damn it.
Yep.
Oh, that's on me. This is my bad. I take the blame.
But the thing is like they probably didn't even have the Blood and Honey 2 tickets up on the site.
I looked today and I still didn't see them. Yeah. So maybe it was delayed.
Maybe that release is not in America yet. Maybe that release date we saw wasn't for America.
Okay. Well, maybe we can still review it. I'll check again.
All right, guys. So, just keep an eye out. We'll have to wait and see how this movie actually does. Is it going to make its budget back? No, I don't think. No, I don't think it will. We'll have to wait and see.
No.
Is it like so? The mark to hit would be $240 million if it wants to get somewhere near breaking even. I don't know if Sydney Sweeney's titties are good enough to sell this movie.
She's barely even in the trailer.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, let's move on then, shall we? Or let's just look at this one more time. No, I'm just okay. All right. So Mary wanted to talk about Lana. Because
Lana got literally trampled.
She keeps getting trampled.
Lana got
metaphorically and
figuratively and literally trampled at the Super Bowl, and I didn't see this until last night. There is a high def video of Lana after the Chiefs won getting like pummeled to the ground with people jumping up and down and Taylor Swift ignoring it. And I thought at first that she might have broken her arm because it was like misreported that she was coming out with a cast on her arm. But she appears to be alive and well after the fact. But look at that video.
Let's look at the clip.
You
can see her on the left.
Legacy, and there's more they want to achieve.
On the left of Ice Spice.
No history. They know legacy, and there's more they want to achieve. You could hear that.
This guy just totally body checked her.
Legacy, and there's
oh, Andy's, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's going to be hard to see because you can't see it on this route. He's wearing he's out of the frame. He's wearing an old Cleveland Indians hat with the Chief Wahoo logo that's considered offensive.
He's also wearing a fake Gucci jacket.
You can hear that.
He's literally stomping on her and body checking her, but you can't see from this angle.
So this broke her arm.
Well, no, it didn't. That's the fake news.
Okay, so her arm didn't.
She did not. She did not walk out with a broken arm.
You said that the photo of her in a cast is an old photo.
Yeah, that was from a couple of years ago. But I think that everyone in that box was virulently envious of Lana Del Rey, who is the real tortured poet. She is not flying around like a villain in a private jet all the time. She's criminally underrated for the amount that she has inspired all of these female artists. There's also this insane picture of Ice Spice giving her an extreme look of contempt.
I think she's looking at what's on her phone.
It's just she's taking a video, though.
Yeah.
Like, I see the death stare.
She's not happy.
She's giving her the evil eye.
And the thing is that Ice Spice was kind of, they made a big deal about her at the show. Again, more kind of religious panic, I guess.
Well, yeah, she was like throwing up the devil horns when when the camera was on her and holding up this upside down cross that she was wearing. I guess that was proof that she is being MK Ultra'd in Hollywood.
Well, that doesn't seem to be the case because the pendant was actually given to her by Playboy Cardi. It says the rapper has been seen a lot on Sunday's broadcast of the game with a good amount of folks noticed the chain and necklace she was wearing in the suite with Taylor Swift with an upside down cross. Of course, that got some pearl clutchers up in arms with accusations of devil worship and demonic symbols being shown on TV in front of millions. A hand gesture she made at one point, Quiet Coyote, certainly didn't help either with the unholy accusations. So they actually kind of both simultaneously admit that she did something that would warrant those accusations while saying that the accusations are stupid. And I do believe that the accusations are a bit over the top, but this is TMZ being a little bit cheeky. More so than I feel like they,
I think she was trying to be provocative.
It says whelp, as it turns out, by the way, never say whelp, it's lame.
It's one of your pet peeves when people say whelp.
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Don't say whelp. It's stupid. There's nothing ungodly about this pendant at all. At least that's what we're being told anyways. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ that the piece was designed by celebrity jeweler Alex Moss, and it's just a sweet piece of ice with no devil ties behind it whatsoever. We're told the pendant is made from black gold, a new material that's been developed in which Alex is using at the forthcoming collection. So I have a question for you. Even if he has no demonic intent behind it, does the symbol on its own exist in a manner that would allow it to be that even if he didn't mean anything by it?
Well, the history of the upside down cross is that it's actually St. Peter's cross because he was crucified upside down. But anyone who's wearing the upside down cross in pop culture probably is totally ignorant of that and is trying to be provocative, as I said. And for a lot of people, this is the first time they even heard of who Ice Spice was.
Yeah.
Because she, got taken under the wing of Taylor Swift and is still like, she skipped like 5 levels of fame and seems to be a total industry plant.
So what would be the next level of fame that she should have gotten to on the way up to where she is now?
I mean, you go from like, being a TikToker or like a streamer.
Not everybody starts there.
Maybe, going viral on social media.
Not everybody starts there.
You might get invited to some events. There are tiers to it.
Yeah.
But she's just here being paraded around as one of Taylor Swift's Barbie friends, as Candace Owens put it. She was collected into her collection of Barbie friends when she had to save face for her boyfriend at the time, Matty Healy. He made racist comments about Ice Spice, so she had to like cover for him by making friends with her. And bringing her on stage at one of her concerts. But everyone mainly was like, who is this Ronald McDonald looking ass?
The worst part of the celebrity status when you're at that level is like everything's transactional and fake. Like nothing's real.
There's PR relationships and there's PR friendships. I bet PR friendships are even more common. Shaniqua posting delusions on X said, Ice Spice is Taylor's diversity friend. Having a white-only entourage is not socially acceptable, even for Swift, so she found a Down syndrome black friend to meet the diversity requirements.
That was very rude. That was very rude.
Very mean.
Very rude. Very mean. So,
people also called out Alyssa Milano. Because she bought Super Bowl tickets, which they're in the, 5-figure range for sure. Yet she had the audacity to post a GoFundMe link for her son's baseball thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So the thing I thought was weird is like these weren't even that far apart. Like
no, it was literally less than a month.
This isn't something that people dragged up from 6 months ago.
And there was a TikTok of, someone going around at the Super Bowl asking people how much their tickets cost.
Yeah.
They're all upwards of $10,000 just for commercial seating.
So it says, my good friend Alyssa Milano could afford Super Bowl tickets, which cost an average of $10,000 each, but needed much poorer people on Twitter to pay for her son's team's Cooperstown, New York Little League trip.
Yeah.
Tony Danza would never.
Do you think that the coach of his baseball team asked her to do that.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I mean, maybe he did that.
So
and
she was put up to it. She couldn't say no.
Maybe he did the thing where he like did that, hoping that she would then offer to just cover it.
He's like, yeah, we're really struggling to put together a budget for this.
Maybe you could, you know,
Make a post
for the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I don't know if there's an update if she actually met her goal, but
yeah,
we can guess
she
did.
should just cover it herself. It just
no,
seems
she used the GoFundMe donations for her Super Bowl tickets.
That's the real version.
And then screwed over the Little League team.
That is the real supervillain version of the story. Maybe what it is.
She looks like a supervillain. Look at her face. She looks insane.
I still think
you said she looks like a crazy ant type of hot.
Yeah, she is
a psycho ant.
She just you know the SSRIs are
the
hitting
psycho
real good.
wine ant.
The SSRIs and wine are hitting real good, but you take care of yourself. I'm here for it.
She does Pilates, but she's on Prozac.
Yeah. So like, or the better story here is that like the coach keeps like pulling her son and doesn't let him play, so she keeps the money so that they can go to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And of course, it would be more poetic if it was for the World Series and not the Super Bowl.
True.
That would have been better.
But her son cares more about football secretly.
Seems to be. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, I just thought it was funny because this was a story where, again, not even a month ago that this happened.
Literally, it was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So, all right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cute first because I don't know what the cringe is.
Oh no, I showed it. I at least gave you the heads up ahead of time. But let's. Okay, we'll just do cringe first.
Okay.
So this is the cringe of the day. I saw this. It says someone should tell this weirdo that dogs don't use forks. He's probably right. First of all, you know, as bad as this may be, that French toast doesn't actually look totally done. Like it doesn't look.
It looks like
well.
Just bread.
Yeah. The French toast is the even more blasphemous part.
Oh, they still have the plexiglass out. Ew. How do you eat with that mask on? Where do you find this shit?
You're being bigoted right now.
Thanks, I hate it.
You're being bigoted right now.
See, and then you say people should do whatever they want as long as it's not hurting anybody.
Yep.
This is hurting me. This is hurting me personally.
No, but my logic is that doesn't mean that you're not going to get laughed at or made fun of. You know, live up to the consequences.
I'm just saying this violated my non-aggression principle.
Okay. Well, I will.
This harmed me.
I will pay the price for that. I apologize for making you watch that. Let's show some cute of the day as well, then. Okay. This is from Gracie the hot dog.
A real dog.
A real dog.
Not a weird fetishist wearing a dog mask.
Correct.
It's a real cute dog.
Exactly.
And my heart is recovering.
Yep.
From what we just
and this
witnessed.
dog isn't pretending to hold that holding a fork is normal for a dog. Which
He's standing like a T-Rex.
Yep, I like it. Let's do one more here. This is from Devin. Says, "What about Ryder? He's a beautiful boy."
These are some nice pictures.
Yep, high quality.
Damn, majestic.
Looking good. All right. Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Why don't you tell us about the great Super Bowl end of the world conspiracy?
Well, we'll get there. We will. So basically, the Super Bowl ratings were extremely high. I believe there were 124 million people watching. This is the most watched broadcast in U.S. history since the moon landing, which was also fake and rigged. But we won't get into that right now. Some people are theorizing that the Super Bowl is predicting the next global catastrophe at the level of a second pandemic, possibly. The next global shutdown. And it's just like Dark Brandon drew it up.
It is?
He posted that. And honestly, I was kind of secondhand embarrassed at the people quote tweeting that post, being like, it's right in front of our faces.
You're saying the quiet part
It's
loud.
like, okay, like slow your roll. I know that Biden isn't funny enough to come up with it, but one of his interns might be. It was not bad. Like,
It was fine.
Taking the Dark Brandon meme and actually owning it and like making jokes about it, it's a good move.
It makes me laugh. But I posted about. I was like, literally, like, you guys have to at least give them credit every once in a while. When they get it right every once in a while, you're not being fair if you're not willing to acknowledge when they actually do make a meme that's actually funny, which is once every 5 to 7 years.
So they leaned into the theories that the Super Bowl was a psyop to rig the election in Biden's favor. Who knows if that's actually going to pan out. But there are new theories that on a bunch of different metrics, 2020 exactly mirrors the events of 2024. And that might mean not only will Biden get reelected, but we will also have another global catastrophe on the level of COVID-19.
Well, here's the shorter list.
Yes.
It's a leap year.
Yes.
Chiefs win against the 49ers. Biden versus Trump. Taylor drops a new album.
This is really just the illusion of choice, though.
Yep. It's the world we live in now.
All of our pop cultural and political events kind of just regurgitate in a cycle year by year.
Here's the more long-winded one.
Every election cycle every general election is in a leap year.
Yeah.
I was today years old when I actually made that connection.
Yep.
As was Brett, apparently. Yep. So that's not as, meaningful as the fact that, it was the same Super Bowl, same running opponents.
Yep.
And
Lamar Jackson wins MVP. Lamar Jackson is favorite to win MVP. Like there's some dubious stuff here.
There was some reaching, but there was like a lot of sports stats here. Chiefs are the home team in the Super Bowl again.
I mean, I think the more interesting part of this is just like people these days, especially the internet, seems really prone to seeing patterns everywhere. It's we mentioned the movie The Number 23 the other day, and how like once you start seeing it's like I forget the term for it. It's not hypergraphy. I think that's that's writing. But the point is they start to see it everywhere, right? Just like with Taylor Swift in The Number 13, you start to see it everywhere. So the problem is we're all kind of jacked into the matrix per se, and we're all seeing constant news updates, and we're constantly being assaulted with propaganda from both sides, and it makes you a little bit paranoid. And I'm sure a lot of people aren't excited about the idea of something coming up to interfere in the election process again, or theoretically interfere in the election process, which obviously is a very, very bold and ridiculous claim to make, and I don't think that that's what's going to happen, but it speaks to the consciousness of the public right now.
Mm-hmm. Also, it says Billie Eilish won Song of the Year in 2020.
Yep.
Same thing happened this year. Also,
what it really means is that people that are good at their jobs stay good at their jobs, and consistency is king.
Yeah, there's always an explanation.
You know what it tells me? It says that the best NFL teams don't have a lot of injuries and stay in the top brackets as they make it to the playoffs. That's what it tells me.
Stop making sense.
Yeah.
Stop trying to put a damper on our conspiracies.
And that Billie Eilish is a favorite among Hollywood elites, so she wins Song of the Year multiple years.
But yeah, the Chiefs beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. The world was shut down by the COVID pandemic a month later. Once again, the Chiefs have beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. The world will be shut down by blank a month later. It could be a pandemic. It could be World War III. It could be the singularity.
It has to be
an instant heat death.
It has to be a pandemic, or you're just making up connections.
I mean, there have been predictions of a second pandemic, as if the COVID lockdowns were just a compliance test on the public to see if we could implement it again.
Yeah.
We being the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, the Illuminati, Bohemian Grove, et cetera, the list goes on. But what do you think of the Super Bowl earning the most viewers since the moon landing?
It's they were calling it the Taylor Swift effect. I guess it's that.
Do you think you can give her credit for that? I
think she plays a role in it. Yeah, I do. I think that the increase in female viewership would bear that out, right? Somebody corrected us one time, said that the audience for the NFL is pretty evenly split amongst men and women. Or at least that's,
But
what it said beforehand. So now
before Taylor Swift, they had basically gender parity.
Yeah, so now you have this whole untapped market of public interest going in to watch this game. I did love all of the return of the meme, like, I'm just here for the commercials, or the ones that are just like, I just hope both teams have fun. But now you can't even do that anymore because you just have to support whatever Taylor Swift supports. But I think that there's a strong precedent to think that she is worth her weight in gold as far as advertising goes. The numbers bear that out. What's funny is when I was looking at this, they said that so she had 58 total seconds of screen time.
In the entire telecast?
In the entire game. But if you think about it, a quick cut to someone is 1 to 2 seconds at most.
And they do that 60 times.
So 30, 40, so then like what, 30, if it's 2 seconds, that's 30 times they cut to her.
30 times.
They cut to her in the game, She should start charging them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she might have been chugging beer like that. She was like shotgunning a beer.
Oh yes, what was your idea?
My theory was that Taylor Swift was chugging a beer to dispel pregnancy rumors, because we've been seeing that a lot. Like, look at her tour schedule. She has maternity leave built in October.
Turns out she's pregnant too.
I really hope that she's not pregnant with the amount that she was
It was non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, sure. It was apple juice.
It was apple juice. That's what it was.
Fizzy apple juice. It was sparkling apple juice for sure. But that's my theory. That's my pet theory. And I did see people reposting that saying, she's such a bad influence for young girls.
Can't win these days.
Like, at least she's acting like an adult finally.
Yeah. Going out and having fun with and of course, Lana gets screwed in all of this too, as we saw.
She's literally the Gretchen Wieners to her Regina George. Yeah. It's sickening.
It was 123.4 million people watched the game.
So that's across platforms, right? That's not just people watching on Paramount Plus.
So it says 112 million of those viewers tuned in live to the CBS broadcast, so the actual network television broadcast of it. The largest ever for a single network. The rest were measured across Paramount Plus, Nickelodeon, Univision, that's what I watched it on. The Spanish-speaking network, CBS Sports and NFL digital properties, including NFL Plus per Paramount Global. Paramount Plus saw record-breaking viewership that made Sunday the most streamed Super Bowl ever, but exact data regarding streaming figures is not entirely available. So it says, before this, the biggest telecast of all time was last year's Super Bowl game between the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. It was initially named the third most watched, ranking behind the 2015 and 2017 Super Bowls, which brought in 114 million and 113 million.7 viewers respectively. But Nielsen later caught errors in their measurements that raised the tally from 113 to a record-breaking 115 million. Well, that seems like an executive who had a bonus coming to him, maybe made some money change hands to find the errors in their measurements.
Do you think that it makes sense for Usher to be the halftime performance?
Yes. Yeah. They love the millennial pandering.
Is he like very special to millennials?
When Lil Jon comes out on stage and sings then I think that's pandering to millennials.
What did you think of the roller skating? It set back your subculture by at least a decade.
I don't talk about it. But
wasn't there one of the roller skaters that like just launched herself off the stage?
I
looked like
that,
she died.
I also saw that like the lady playing guitar, because it's they don't actually play live. It's all pre-recorded.
It was her.
It wasn't lining up.
Playing a guitar in the most obviously fake way.
She obviously did the recording prior, they're saying, but like she just wasn't on.
Is it obvious though?
But I think that they love to pander to the millennials, and I'm surprised they didn't get Justin Bieber out there. But
as for the prophecy, do you believe that
I don't think
a global catastrophe is
first we have to decide, would this prediction be considered true if it was something other than another pandemic?
Something that's going to make it...
That is what fortune tellers rely on to get you to believe things. You get mildly close, and then you accept it as fact.
Well, the conspiratorial nature of the lockdowns was this is going to make it harder for people to come out and vote. and it's going to make people use mail-in ballots, which are easier to defraud, right? So what's going to come next for the 2024 election that's going to make it harder for people to come out and vote for Trump?
They're going to say that Russia's going to attack.
The sky is going to start falling.
Yes.
It's going to be like the Chicken Little movie.
Yes.
Did you ever see Chicken Little? I was just telling Kim to watch that because she's just obsessed with chickens.
That makes perfect sense. I don't think that anything is gonna. I don't think anything's gonna come in the way of like a pandemic this time. I think it would be probably something more along the lines of like world events. But even that's not really realistic because where America sits in the global theater is just like that's one of our assets is where we're actually physically located. So it'll be interesting to see. But no, I just think that there's I can't always tell if this is the algorithm or if this is just an actual uptick in interest. But what's weird is like since the X-Files in the 90s, never before have conspiracy theories been more relevant but less fun.
Yeah.
They were so much more fun back when it felt like the stakes were lower.
Sure. Aliens.
Yeah. Area 51.
Chemtrails.
Any of that stuff. Like
the moon landing, obviously.
Even the government conspiracies at that time, which do denote a certain level of like maliciousness or nefariousness from the government, felt separated from what we look at now.
We're going to get so many context notes on this video. I can see it already.
If you guys don't know, every time we ever mention every time that we mention
the Illuminati,
we get like a thing on the screen.
We get the Wikipedia page for the Illuminati
and climate change.
And
both
climate
of those
change.
get like a certain,
and abortion.
Does abortion?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also a Wikipedia page for abortion that pops up.
But it's basically its own version of like a context note.
Because you guys, YouTube assumes that you in the chat are too stupid to do your own research on those topics, so they need to offer you the context to educate you. But it's just so disheartening that every time someone brings up the lockdowns, there's always that one person or multiple people that say, I actually like have nostalgia for the lockdowns.
Yeah.
Like I miss it. Someone commented, I mean, quarantine was kind of nice, not gonna lie. And someone said, I can't lie, March and April was nice, but I was sick of it by May.
That's because they love the idea of not being in control, of not having to be in control of what's going on in the world.
And not having a job.
and not needing to.
Yes.
Right?
And another person said the possible catastrophe is a solar flare that wipes out the internet for several months.
Yep.
We can only hope.
EMP.
We can only hope that
EMP.
that would happen. I think that would be a great reset for our human socialization skills.
What would we do if an EMP put us out of work?
Shit, I don't know.
Just go into
start hunting and gathering.
Go into town and deliver our podcast live to the ether.
We would just get tomatoes thrown at us. We would be put in the gallows.
We would. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, final score, Mary 1, ugly unknown e-girl 0.
You leave Mindy Robinson alone.
You're going to start simping for her. I can see it. Shane H. Wilder, happy Taco Fat Tuesday, Brett and Mary.
Thank you.
So
and again,
it's Taco Tuesday and Fat Tuesday.
I had no idea what Fat Tuesday was until now.
You learn every day. Jacob Paradis said, I know there are concerns about certain candles releasing toxins into the air. Narbar's candles are made from soy wax, and according to Healthline, soy wax is a safe alternative. Public Square, let's go.
Let's go.
But what if the soy candles put soy in your body?
It's not good.
And they mess up your endocrine system.
I don't think Jacob would do that to us. I don't think Jacob would do that to us. Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, yes, I sent you the Mountain Dew code bread.
It's like a brown
bread flavored soda
soda.
Isn't that just kombucha?
I guess. All right. Let's move on then, shall we? Mary, why don't you tell us what's going on with this DEI story at Amazon? Because it's almost more crazy than what happened at Disney.
It's beyond parody. So Elon has been warring against Disney and exposing their DEI guidelines. And then he was like, hold my beer. Because now he's exposing Amazon's insane DEI rules. He posted this video from Chris Gore at Film Threat going over their DEI playbook. And it's this whole page publicly available on their website for their inclusion guidelines. The introduction says, we all carry biases, conscious or unconscious, that can build barriers and create inequities in the workplace. The work of diversity, equity, and inclusion requires all of us to disrupt those biases and the long-standing customs and practices in the industry in order to achieve real, lasting change. Thank you, ChatGPT. So, actually, this is funny because Chris Gore said that a member of the Writers Guild who is friends with him reached out and said the woman who put together these rules actually has no experience in the film and entertainment industry. And she previously to this role at Amazon was an HR executive at Caterpillar Trucks, the construction equipment company.
What's really interesting is like there is kind of like this weird overlap, right? Like when does somebody's job as an executive, like when does your specific knowledge of how a specific industry work? Because people will hop from industry to industry at the executive level. But if you're going to work in a creative industry, that's vastly different than what is required for working at a manufacturing company.
You can go from an HR department at a manufacturing company and then go to an HR department at something like Amazon, but she's not an HR executive. She's a DEI executive now. Yeah. And that means she has authority over storytelling. And that's what's really interesting about this. It's not just about hiring camera crew. It's not just about casting directors. It would be interesting enough if all we were talking about was personnel, but now we're getting into the actual creative aspects of the job, which should never be left up to committee, let alone singular executives with no experience working in that field. And this essentially means that it's mandatory for any creative executives overseeing projects at Amazon to report their demographics data to this DEI policy to make sure that it's compliant before they go to principal photography. So this is going to be every original movie or TV show that comes out of Amazon Studios from this point forward.
Let's go through some of these subcategories that they talk about here. So
yeah, so they have
script-based descriptions and stereotypes.
Gender, sexuality, romance, and humor. First, script-based descriptions and stereotypes. The way the characters are described in a script can evoke stereotypes of casting directors, breakdown services, and even those reading for the part. Consider the following when describing characters. Is there a reason to specify a character's gender, race, ethnicity, LGBTQ+ identity, or disability in the script? Does source material specify a character's identity in any way? Are you deviating from that depiction? Why or why not? Are there places you should specify information about the character's background or identity to help with casting? Consider sharing this information only if it's needed for the story.
We are one paragraph in. Imagine being a creative mind having to work with the absolute lunacy that this is, the handcuffs that it's placing. We're just through one subcategory with like 5 or 6 more to go. Imagine you're just trying to write a good story. I say all the time, just making good art is difficult. Now imagine that some HR busybody at the behest of a corporate entity is telling you this is what it needs to be if you're going to make your art with us.
Yeah, so you need to make sure that you don't desexualize or over-sexualize someone based on underrepresented identities.
By whose standards? What the hell does that mean?
By the standards of Jennifer Salke.
Yes.
Basically, is the answer. Are your descriptions of characters grounded in their appearance versus their personality? Are there descriptions of girls or women that lean toward their relationships or appearance rather than who they are? Are you writing about characters who are men in the same way? Are LGBT characters solely defined by sexual identities? Are people with disabilities infantilized and or desexualized? So just make sure if there's any character who's in a wheelchair, they have to be hypersexual so that you can go against the stereotype. So that's part of it.
Reading this whole thing, what they keep coming back to is stereotypes. Nothing in Hollywood is allowed to just be what it actually is anymore. Everything has to be flipped on its head.
Now, would you guess that gay men are overrepresented in the fashion industry? Would you guess that that's the case in the real world?
This is the Ryan Long bit about how he never stereotypes. Where he goes up to the 80-year-old woman, he's like, "Are you a rapper? You look like a rapper." Like he says, "I never stereotype ever."
I might get in trouble for saying this, but I think gay men might be overrepresented in the fashion industry. But if you portray that in your TV show at Amazon, you are going to get in trouble with their DEI executives because you are not supposed to depict gay characters in appearance-related professions like fashion and entertainment anymore.
Let's go through the...
You will get canceled.
Let's go... I want to talk about the stuff that went viral in the tweet. That was going viral for it. It says, consider the depiction of caregiving in romantic relationships and whether they fall along stereotypical or traditional lines, i.e. heteronormative women as heteronormative, women as subservient, men as protector or provider. For more information on the concept of benevolent sexism, read here. Rescue storylines or those focusing on chivalry can be particularly problematic. Well, we wouldn't want to have a hero saving the day because that would just be too stereotypical.
Just throw all of the stories that Disney made its name on for the last century out the window.
No James Bond. No James Bond. That was my favorite example of all of them. No James Bond.
No more
saving
Disney
the day.
princesses. No more James Bond. None of that. It's all against the rules now.
I'm thinking of I just rewatched Taken recently. I love it because they never say kidnapped in the whole movie. It's just they say they were taken. But the point is, the whole idea is that he is saving his daughter from her kidnapping, from being taken. Can't do that anymore.
Oh.
He's rescuing her.
This is spicy. Are you describing women's personalities in ways that lead to assumptions about their sexuality? For example, are descriptions such as girl next door used for characters? Be sure that your descriptions don't evoke stereotypes related to women of color. Avoid using the terms exotic, feisty, or sassy, other words stereotypically used to refer to underrepresented women. It's better to be specific.
Well,
the lead is from Puerto Rico, loves to sing, and has a big group of friends.
That nobody wants to read that. No, first of all, it's just more words. They sound like people who are writing for a word count in a college essay.
Yeah.
There's nothing punchy about that. It doesn't grab anyone's attention. Also, the idea that you can say that you can't use feisty, but you systematically remove redheads from everything is bullshit. Also, just think of it like this. When you talk to the actors, what do they always talk about with their stupid acting, with their acting coaches? You have to be free and unencumbered. You have to be able to create your art with a complete sense of freedom. Otherwise, it won't feel authentic. Now, why don't you apply that same logic to the writers? Why aren't the writers allowed to be free to make whatever they want?
Allow them to be uninhibited.
Yes, uninhibited.
They love that word.
And stereotypes on their own are not inherently bad. They are storytelling shorthand. Just because something isn't always something doesn't mean that it is not sometimes.
You need to show LGBT parents as well, because between 2 million and 3.7 million U.S. children have one or more LGBTQ plus parent. Narratives that involve abuse, harassment, or SA require deeper thought. When these topics are included in the storyline, handle them with sensitivity. Have survivors been consulted for their perspective and insights? You just have to flag down someone on the street. Hey, have you ever been assaulted?
Did a guy ever assault you?
Can
Could
you
I ask your opinion
please
on
consult
something?
for free on this script that I'm writing to make sure that it's sensitive? I'm totally not
Also,
an
another thing is,
antisocial freak.
Almost every show that I like from Amazon just wouldn't, Terminalist wouldn't be allowed to be made. Reacher wouldn't be allowed to be made. None of this stuff. No good art has ever been created by committee. Art is the product, especially at the storytelling level, is the product of a singular person's vision who entrusts dozens, if not hundreds of people to help systematically carry out that vision to project it to the world. It is a very, very difficult process at the best of times. When you handcuff them with bullshit like this, you have to wonder, why is it even being made? I will tell you why. Because this is what we get for the commercialization of art, and for a lot of, we talk about the illusion of choice, right? Mm-hmm. You really only have just a couple of choices now, so it's the consequences of large corporations buying up all the properties. Eventually, all of your bullshit committee-made art will be made by Amazon and Apple, and that's it.
How exciting.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
It sounds like so much fun.
Fills me with hope and optimism for the future of
the worst
entertainment.
part about it is it's at its base level. This is being done by cry bully tattletales, because that's what these people in the HR departments are. They went and complained to the teacher a bunch. So the people who are out there bringing their vision to life, creating, which is something that's unbelievably difficult to do. Again, like somebody asked us a question once. They said, like, if you could write a story, what would you be? I was like, I wouldn't be able to. I would not have the talent to be able to do that, which is why I find it unbelievably disrespectful when you try to handcuff somebody and tell them they have to make their art a certain way.
Yeah, I think that it's not even political. It's more psychological. And I recently saw a post that explained this deeper. All of this is just, it boils down to revenge of the nerds. Regardless of where someone stands on the political spectrum, there are people on the right that fit this description. There are people on the left that are like this. They felt like they were put upon. They probably didn't fit in when they were in school. They were part of like the theater club, or they were, they were nerds.
And they don't believe
They got
in
stuffed in lockers. They don't want to forgive the people who were more powerful than them that abused their power. They instead will go into these positions of power in corporations and use that power to lash out at those they feel have victimized them.
We should go through stereotypes and humor.
One more thing that was in this parenting section that interested me was, are men presented as inept when shown as parents or caregivers? Because we often talk about the stereotype of a stupid, bumbling dad who is fat, out of shape. He doesn't know what his kids are doing.
Doesn't
know what his kids are doing. The kids don't respect him. His wife doesn't respect him, is not attracted to him. So theoretically, they're telling you to combat that stereotype, but you believe it might only work in relation to black father figures.
Well, in anything other than, here's the thing. None of what they talk about here, combating stereotypes, ever addresses the fact that there are racial stereotypes around white people, that they're just not willing to admit that they use. But since they do not consider them historically marginalized or underrepresented, they're not afforded the same protection, the supposed protections that these bullshit policies are supposed to enact.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And let's go through stereotypes and humor, because this is one of my biggest problems. There is nothing wrong with stereotypes in movies and entertainment. It's a matter of how well it's done on screen. The reason why it works is because it signals to someone that, yes, this does exist in the world. That doesn't mean everyone's like that. It's like how they always say, like, not all this group. Everyone knows that. You treat your audience like morons if you believe that people actually think that every time, and to believe that they don't do this to everyone is ridiculous.
Well, stereotypical jokes are funny because stereotypes are true.
Yes.
Stereotypes exist because they're grounded in reality, and everyone is able to laugh at a stereotypical joke without believing that every single person in a certain category fits a certain description.
There's a reason why stereotypes about, like for instance, I'll give you an example of one going the opposite direction. They wouldn't just be like, Get Out. Right? The idea of the annoying white liberal in the suburbs, right? It works. And it works in that movie. And stereotypes for everybody exist. It's a
negative stereotype, but it's a true one.
So it works in the story.
It works.
It rings as true, which is what you need these things to do. If you constantly have to subvert expectations, you can only do that so many times before the trope is so worn. The creating for modern audiences trope. I now, like I said, when I see a show like Reacher and he's actually competent and good at his job and saves the day, I was like, you subverted my expectations by not supposedly subverting expectations.
Yeah, I think that white audiences are perfectly happy to laugh at themselves and laugh at the negative stereotypes about white people, and everybody else just needs to get off of their high horse and get off of your ethno-narcissism and be willing to laugh at your own group.
So this is what it says about stereotypes. Stereotypes and humor. It says, we understand that the best comedy can derive from the unexpected and be an agent of truth-telling. Again, why does it have to be that? Why does that matter? Is it funny? That's what matters. Nobody gives a crap about whether it's an agent of truth-telling, you douche. Like, they just don't. Nobody goes to movies to see stuff like that. It says, we urge content creators. Oh, they're calling them content creators. They're probably not going to like that very much. We urge content creators focusing on comedy and humor or satire to engage with their material in deep ways. Ask the fundamental questions. Are you the right person to tell this story and or these jokes? Get fucked.
Whoa.
Seriously, get fucked. You have no right to tell anyone whether they're the right person to tell this story.
Well, here's the answer, though. If you're a black screenwriter, you are definitely the right person to tell jokes about white people. But if you dare do it the other way around. If you are a white screenwriter who is writing jokes about black people as a stereotypical group, then you will be blacklisted. You will be fired.
So it says, begin by thinking about whether, as the storyteller, your humor comes from the outside or inside the group that's the center of the comedy.
Don't punch down.
Yeah, you can never punch down. Out-group members use humor to mock or joke about characters from underrepresented groups can be highly problematic. Humor may reflect insensitivity, play to broad stereotypes. First of all, you're acting as if the people watching this movie are going to know the demographic breakdown of the person who wrote this movie. Guess what? 90% of people don't.
No, they don't. Nor do they care, nor should they care.
Exactly. It goes on. Let's see.
Here are a few things to consider when you include humor in your storytelling. If characters from underrepresented backgrounds and historically marginalized groups only appear in your story to deliver humorous lines as a source of amusement, this is problematic. Do these characters have other depth or insight, or do they merely serve to deliver comedy?
Okay, so go watch Not Another Teen Movie, and the character whose whole point is say, damn, shit. Like, it's funny.
Literally 0 characters in Not Another Teen Movie have depth.
And that
all of those characters exist to deliver jokes.
And that character actually does make a point where he says, I think you're going to lose this bet. But by losing this bet, you're going to discover something about yourself, which means that at the end, you'll ultimately... He makes like a really deep and meaningful statement, and everybody just kind of laughs at it, right? You also noted there's nothing about fat people in this whole thing. Well, Reggie Ray was a big part of Not Another Teen Movie. And I
am surprised there's nothing about fat characters in this. They're going to have to revise it. I'm going to send them a sternly worded email.
Review the script and stories with members of the community. No, who has the time to do? What if you just don't have the money to do all this, right? Like, are you going to go build a coalition of people to do this with? Eventually, you're going to price out small creators because they don't have the time to meet all of these ridiculous requirements. I'll finish this. I apologize. So it says...
it's making you angry.
Review the script and stories with members of the communities you are depicting to ensure authenticity and limit hurtful humor. Again, subjective. What you should do then, here, let me allow you a way around it. Find 10 people you know with good senses of humor and poll them, right? Make sure, like, just do what all the pharmaceutical companies, cook the books, get the fix in so that you can make sure you're like, well, I asked 10 to 20 people about whether they like this or not, and just say yes.
Like, pay them off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, on to race and ethnicity, though. You cannot link black characters in your project to violence, either as perpetrators or victims or gang violence. You can't link them to drugs, addiction, or sexual promiscuity. You can't show them as a member of a family unit that doesn't center on broken homes, single parents, or aspects of family life that foreground difficulty rather than joy. You cannot present them in positions that are linked to entertaining others.
So they can't be, does that mean they can't be athletes either?
They cannot deal with hardships or difficulties that are linked to their race.
Every movie from Amazon Prime going to be an all-white NBA?
You cannot frame Hispanic or Latinx characters as foreigners. You cannot show them in relation to illegal activity, particularly illegal immigration. You can't show them in multi-generational households. You cannot show them in
Blue Beetle would have been
bilingual family settings.
Blue Beetle wouldn't have passed any of this.
Can't show them in relation to violence. You can't show them as being sneaky, sly, or scheming. And they can't be overly sexualized.
You know what all this is? It's like, how long did it take for Americans to be able to just refer to, like, do you remember the video from a couple years back where the woman was being yelled at Walgreens, and the lady called the cops on her and she said, there's a black woman here who's causing problems, and she got really mad that she referred to it as black. A lot of people won't even say that, like people who won't say Jews because they feel like it carries a derisive tone to it. All of these types of rules are written by the people who have no actual real world experience with people outside of their bubble. Mm-hmm. Right? They've never, like, these people have never been to an event with anyone other than other white people.
They're quite literally the people who are not invited to the cookout.
Yes.
You also cannot stereotype Asians as geeks who are interested in tech, math, or sciences. You can't give them foreign accents. You can't portray Asian women as naive, vulnerable, or silenced. They can't be framed in a provocative light, and they also cannot be shown as dangerous, evil, or threatening to others.
All of this, let's just finish it like this. All of this, everything you should, and this is just one section of like a 6-section thesis. All of this covers not just storytelling, it covers casting, hiring, everything. Imagine trying to create something as complex, as difficult as good art, which we go to what, 10, 20, 30 movies a year. Only a handful of them actually end up being good. Out of all the movies, all of the television shows that come out every single year, maybe a couple, a handful, get any type of real praise from the general public. Imagine trying to be the person who's saying, I'm going to create the next this. I'm going to create the next that, the next great movie, the next great television show, and then having this freaking manual dropped in front of you and then having to somehow consult this. You wouldn't be able to write a paragraph without going to check and then reread the whole manual the whole way through.
They're going to need to write a DEI Bible.
Everything eventually will have to be, they will have to write programs that will just allow ChatGPT or AI to then proofread their shit and then fix what's wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty much gotten to that point already. The next thing is they're going to have to open DEI churches where you worship at the altar of DEI. You make sacrifices to DEI. Yeah.
And this is, and if people were wondering, somebody asked, like, what is this for? It says it's the DEIA, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Accessibility Guide on Amazon.
Yeah, you can look at this yourself if you want to. It's ccdeia.com, and the whole playbook is laid out right there for you.
And you wonder, and they wonder
if you want to subtract from your faith in humanity a little bit today.
And they wonder why everybody is so pessimistic when it comes to new stuff in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Let's go to the super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, that reminds me, I've got a half a bag of chips I've got to eat today since I'm giving up all snacks and sweets. Well, that's on your to-do list.
I ate salt and pepper chips the other day. You'd think they'd be just bland, but they were so good.
But yeah, I do like those.
They kind of tasted like French fries. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's great.
Gordon Shumway said, I saw that Libs of TikTok posted that Rachel Dolezal has changed her name, is a teacher in Arizona, and has an OnlyFans. Is it bad that I'm not shocked? Humanity is doomed. Well, she also has a cameo. But I don't know what's going on with her being a teacher.
Damn, I might need to get you
How is she qualified to teach children?
I might have to get you a Rachel Dolezal cameo for your birthday this year.
Please don't.
If there was this, because I asked the other day, I said, who are the people that get cameo, that pay for cameos? Who is somebody you would actually like to get a cameo from?
I guess George Santos.
Okay.
I can't think of anybody else. I'll have to look. T-Dog said, Brett, if this show started with you talking about film or TV, how are you not a film buff? I truly believe this woke crap will never go away. Disney won.
Look, when I think of the prototypical film buff, I think of like the person who has the ridiculous collection that spans 4 walls. They've seen every movie. They can quote every Kurosawa film line for line. That's what I think of when I think of the film buff. I'm not that. I'm passionate about the stuff that I like. And I think that you don't have to be like an expert on all things cinema. You don't have to be like, oh, I love that movie because of Roger Deakins' cinematography. You don't have to be that guy to see the problems in Hollywood right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of a film buff, I also think that they're into artsy stuff.
And
like,
that's not
I think of Kino Corner.
Yes, I don't like Kino Corner would want to talk about the arty movies, like the artsy movies. I just want to talk about the popcorn garbage. That's the stuff I like. If you can't even make the popcorn garbage, right? What are we here for?
True. Hiroshima Otaru said, for food and a ticket, it runs me $30 when solo.
Yeah,
that's just insane, even for one person.
Let's hold off on the rest, and we'll come back after the fact. All right, Mary, why don't you tell us what's going on with David Lucas?
A comedian named David Lucas recently went viral because his audience staged a walkout at one of his comedy shows because he made jokes about George Floyd. And this was in the middle of him getting heckled by an audience member for previous jokes that were offensive. I couldn't find the context for what happened before this, but he just kept on digging and making them angrier and angrier. And it got to a point where droves of people were yelling at him and dramatically exiting the comedy club, making a fool of themselves in the process, and he took it very well and looked good. I think that this was a really good viral moment for him.
What's funny about it is I just finally got around, because I was traveling recently, which I only ever listen to like long form podcasts when I'm traveling. I finally got around to listening to Joe Rogan's interview with Taylor Sheridan, because Joe Rogan is not just on Spotify anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, right? And he got into, first of all, they were talking about how his movies get these crappy reviews, right? And they get crappy reviews from the critics, but the fans love it. And then they kind of related this to comedy, and how comedy is kind of this last line of defense against the insanity that is the world today. And he was talking about how like literally the creation of his comedy club was because they needed some place to do this where they weren't going to have to worry about, you know, essentially these people, these hecklers having such a say over, you know, internet hecklers, maybe not crowd hecklers. They were talking about this, and it was just really funny to hear like somebody like Taylor Sheridan be like, oh yeah, he's like, it sounds awesome. Like these very, very Hollywood people, right? Which is really funny because they got into this further discussion about why communism never works. Really, really interesting. If you guys haven't listened to that interview, I recommend going and checking it out. They talk a lot about agriculture and farming. It's really, really good. But they talk a lot about comedy. And this is a perfect example of why you need places that will actually allow the comedians to tell their jokes without feeling like they have to be silenced.
But you will also have to be on a probably like hundreds of people long wait list in order to get just a few minutes at Joe Rogan's comedy club.
But why we need comedy in general.
But yeah, it's a good point. And I think that people went into this club not knowing who David Lucas was, not knowing what to expect from him, and they were unpleasantly surprised. So let's just play this clip in its full glory.
Oh man, all these fucking good ass white people at my show. And you wanted to show them the reason George Floyd got his neck nailed on. Don't ooh at that joke. It's just a joke, man. I would have never kneeled on George Floyd's neck. I would have shot that nigga. That was making us look.
You know about George Floyd before you get your ass up there talking. You really should know to be funny, don't you know that?
It's called comedy, nigga. How many more black fans I gotta hit that might leave? Oh, good shit, man. I got. Cause nigga, I was just warming up with that George Floyd shit. You ready to go? All right, baby. Okay.
You took it
All right,
too
you
far.
offended too, baby, with the braids? All right, you offended too? God damn, man.
Love that you can just see their silhouettes.
Y'all good? Or y'all about to... Oh, I'm... I like Kyle Rittenhouse too. I like Kyle Rittenhouse too. You too, bro? God damn, bro. Oh, but you fuck with me a little bit, right? See that? Yeah. Damn, one more guy. Damn, man. That nigga don't even want to go, but his ride leaving. He don't even want to go. He like, man, I don't like George Floyd either, man. That nigga had fentanyl. God damn, you gotta stoop low for a joke.
I
George
feel
Floyd would've
like
rocked.
even if you're the most offended you've ever been, like as a point of pride, you should just not leave in the middle of a comedy show, just
To save your own
Rep, yeah.
self from the embarrassment of being one of these babies throwing a tantrum. And I mean, he's getting all sorts of racial epithets thrown at him on social media by other black people, which is insane. A lot of these comments are saying, disgusting. As long as he had those white people laughing, though, this dude should never touch a stage again. White folks are eating it up. Grand opening, grand closing. He clearly hates black people for not thinking that he's funny, so he learned to cater to pink people. That's what they're calling white people now.
Oh.
Pink. He hates himself too. That's why he's sitting up there looking like a 2-ton bag of debris, about to bust out the trash bag he got on. Another said, people like him deserve to never work again. Another said, checked his profile. His audience is mostly white. So yeah, he's one of those who be shucking and jiving for the mayonnaise folk. This is just insane. And it's really unfortunate because there's like a tradition of so many great black comedians like Richard Pryor, and there's obviously, you know, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock and Bill Cosby, at least in his former glory. And they never received such a response. Especially, you know, Dave Chappelle hasn't. I don't think I've seen any vitriol of this level at Dave Chappelle.
I mean, there has been, but that's been more about the trends.
That's about the trans stuff. That's safe, right? Like, that's safe content for now to make offensive jokes about. But if you bring up something that's racially charged, this is the kind of response that you're going to get. And I could go on and on. The entire comment section is just thousands of these. It's kind of embarrassing for them because you're literally the person who is anti-fun. You're against people having fun.
Eddie Murphy too.
And Eddie Murphy,
all of these comedians are people that had such like illustrious careers that didn't like I think about it too. And Chris Rock used there was a lot of comedy based around race in Chris Rock's stuff. Always has been. Never seemed to be a problem for almost anyone.
Even self-deprecating jokes about race.
I think a lot of people say he doesn't do a lot of those bits anymore and stuff like that. But I think about it and I just wonder if there's any joke that I could be so offended by that I would leave a comedy club. I can't think of anything. Because you
don't want to be that person.
Like more than anything, my pride would keep me there. Even if I was fuming, and I don't even know what it would be about. I don't know what somebody would say, especially if it's not something about me.
I mean, if it's something that hits close to home. I
have no connection.
I feel like those are the types of jokes that you're supposed to laugh the hardest at, though.
You could make a bunch of jokes about Croatian people and Polish people, and it would have zero connection with me at all.
I mean,
I guess you could make jokes about being an American that some people who are very pro-America might find offensive. But even then, I'm going to base it more on was it clever or not. Like I said, we looked at the Joe Biden meme yesterday, and I was like, I don't like Joe Biden, but it was funny.
But if you made anti-America jokes, people who are pro-American in the audience would definitely never say you deserve to never work again because they believe in free speech.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of like when people say you would never joke about 9/11. I'm like,
they do all the time, and it's
Americans are more than happy to make 9/11 jokes. That's never been a problem.
That's safe. I mean, I've definitely heard some stand-up bits that I didn't find funny.
Yeah.
And that I found offensive, sure, but I would not make a fool of myself heckling someone over it.
Would you? What were the things you found offensive?
I think it was Dave Chappelle that made that joke about what was it? He was pro-abortion.
Okay.
What was the joke? I don't remember the way he worded it, but it was that bit that was relatively recent.
If you're allowed to kill your kid, I should at least be allowed to abandon it.
Yeah, it was something like that. I didn't find that funny. I found it pretty crass, and I wouldn't laugh at it if I were in the audience, but I would not be one of these toddlers
for example,
screaming
guys,
and crying.
It took, because when me and Mary started working together, her religious convictions were made known to me, obviously. So it took some time for me to be able to figure out what type of humor was would be what she would find not that you would be offended by, but but for the most part, I don't think I've ever sent you anything that you found particularly offensive.
Did you ever offend me? I don't think I can remember.
I think I made a joke once about Hugh Hefner, having sex after being fed soup. I was like, good for him. And you're like, that's disgusting, or something like that.
I don't even remember that.
But in general, I don't think I've ever sent you. And I send you some pretty unhinged stuff, as is most
you
of them.
You can have convictions. You can have strong convictions and not be a fragile person. Because the person who overreacts, the people in that crowd, they're the ones with shaky foundations for their worldview who feel that attacked. They feel vulnerable to jokes because they don't actually know what they think.
Yeah.
They feel threatened because they haven't actually gone through a logical thought process to come to their conclusions. It's all based on feelings, and they need to feel outside validation for those beliefs or else the entire foundation comes crashing down. It's all just a big Jenga tower.
Yeah.
And if one person makes a joke at your expense, your entire worldview crumbles.
Yeah.
That's why they're throwing a tantrum in the audience.
I mean, I think I've sent you plenty of like religious themed jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever been sent anything from you that's like,
Yeah. I like the meme the other day of like
offensive.
Jesus touching kids' heads says duck, duck, leukemia. There's a $20 one there from Bucky Ducky. It says, no crisis party this far into the stream. Let me fix that. Let's go. Hope y'all have a good time. I'm too busy to be here, but I'm here. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend.
I didn't even notice that we hadn't had a
That's
crisis
okay.
party,
Look, you're gonna hear it. I bumped the audio up on the sound.
Yeah.
And I made a little bit of a crescendo for the end. But you know, yesterday was a big day, and that's
once
that's
Carter
fine.
sends over the sound, it's Brett's to
Yes.
Frankenstein from there.
Yeah, like I guess it's just one of those things. Like I'd make it as kind of a point of pride that like I'm willing to entertain. Donald Trump dance.
Gotta add the explosion.
Yes, they gotta have a crescendo at the end. But yeah, it's like it's like James Higgins says, there are no sacred cows in comedy. There shouldn't be.
I mean, I'm not threatened by jokes about religion because I'm confident in what I believe.
Yeah.
You know, like if I weren't confident in my beliefs, then I would feel deeply, deeply hurt by jokes like that.
Yeah.
So I just think that these are people without coherent views, and they feel like they need everyone around them to agree with them and validate them all the time.
I agree.
But Phil said, I would have liked to hear more jokes and less footage of the offended people leaving, because I actually still don't have a sense for what this guy's humor is after watching those 2 minutes.
Dude, I enjoyed his Instagram, which is a lot of him catching fish.
No, he just in every photo, it's him holding a fish.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dude seems awesome. There's I don't know. I think that humor should be that last bastion, and you should kind of check yourself before you go to a comedy club.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
You should go being willing to expect. Like, I kind of like that idea, right? That like comedy remains this wild west where you shouldn't feel safe going to a comedy club if you're an easily offended person.
Right.
You should feel worried that you're going to go there and hear something that goes against your better nature.
Yeah. This also reminded me of a clip of Troy Bond getting heckled that I found hilarious. You guys might have seen it before, but I wanted to show it again.
I haven't seen this.
Because this lady...
This clip went viral. Like,
this lady in the crowd literally started crying because he made a joke about Trump.
I give credit where credit is due. I'm probably the most pro-anti-Trump comic out there.
You're not.
Shut the fuck up!
No, shut the fuck up. As a white guy trying to talk to black people.
I'm not.
Bitch, no, you're not.
Yes, I wasn't.
No, you were.
You just tuned in.
You were trying to.
Well,
you were trying to.
For
Chair
what?
cam.
What are you upset about? It's not me.
No, and shut up. Any black person ever try to laugh at his fucking jokes? No.
Stop having fun, motherfuckers!
Go ahead, yeah. Stop having fun.
Can we get her an Adderall water or something?
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, no, that's what happens.
No, you're white, trying to like talk about and you
My probation officer is here now. I don't know who the fuck you're mad at, but it's not me.
No, a white person trying to make fun of black people.
See, now you're crying, and I was just trying to make you laugh.
No, don't do that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna make fun. I was trying to be empathetic.
That shit wasn't funny.
It was not.
No. I don't care. You trying to like laugh at that shit.
How dare I at a comedy club? She came here for a TED Talk. Everybody knows you go to the basement for political opinion. I don't even know what he's saying, but it's just
this last part
tense.
is the worst.
You a bitch.
Why do you think I'm doing this for a living? You think I was a football player? I'm a bitch, goddammit. There's nothing you can say to me I haven't said 6 inches from the mirror. Yep. You're the first name going in my suicide note tonight. Have a good night, Kamala Harris.
She stopped.
Now's the time I need you on my side.
No, that was the most racist joke ever.
No, I got like 4 more in the chamber.
No, Kamala Harris.
Wait, don't drop the scarf, man. That was $3 at Dollar Tree, man.
Madden, bitch. No.
Yeah, go pick up the gun she left under the chair.
Are you serious? No, y'all want to laugh about
I'm so horny for no reason right now. Don't bully me, I'll come, bitch.
Can't. Well, that just reminded me of David Lucas.
It is also so like unbelievably presumptuous to think that like other people paid for the time, and you're like taking up their experience by making it about you.
She's kind of adding value to their ticket though, because I would love to see a heckle like that. I would love to see a total and complete meltdown in person.
Yeah.
That would have me laughing harder than any joke.
He didn't even bother to point out that he is not white.
Yeah, he didn't even pull the race card to disprove what she was saying. He is half black and has made jokes about that, but she didn't know. That just makes it even funnier. But yeah, kudos to this guy for not backing down and to Troy Bond.
Yep. All right.
Stuff.
Let's go to Super Chats. Let's finish it off. And if we got time left, we'll just hang out.
Yeah. Hiroshima Otaru said, Mary can feel the Canadian from Ryan Reynolds. Is Ryan Reynolds a frostback?
Yes.
Is he's a maple leaf?
He is.
Okay, I see what it was. I can sense it.
Yep.
I can sense the frostback.
Get a Mint Mobile cell phone next.
Not gonna happen.
Nah.
I don't want to support his empire. Shane H. Wilder said, did Madam Web just break the 180 rule?
Yes.
Why?
It did. Absolutely.
What is the 180
rule?
rule?
So you can't do the shot directly. So basically, like, the shot comes in from this angle, and then it comes directly 180 degrees this way, which is why the cut looks so awkward.
You don't start the next one from...
No. They didn't even need to do the shot of her walking into the car. All they had to do was start with her in the car. It was stupid.
Well, they had to show her running.
They did not.
Every line that Dakota Johnson delivers is with the most... I don't even know what the word would be. She's so, like... nonchalant,
I guess.
in these action scenes, and when she's supposed to be in these like high stress situations, she's like, guys, come on,
we gotta go. Yeah, like in
we
the
have
trailer,
to go.
We have to go, which is what you say when you're leaving for Target. And
it's what you say when you're telling your kid to put their shoes on.
Yeah, like what they're like. It sounds like your mom is like trying to make it to the grocery store before it closes. And like you're dawdling, so you're not ready in time. She's like, we have to go. The world's about to end. It's time to leave.
It's just, she's not a good actress. Sorenko Productions said, what does this stand for?
I can't see it.
BNH2.
Oh, Blood and Honey.
Blood and Honey 2 comes out March 26th.
Okay, well, the list I have is wrong then.
I guess they delayed it, so we might be able to review that one. Gal Gadot said, "Welp, so much for making Brent happy."
There's just something about Welp. I saw somebody in the comments say like, they hate when somebody says anywho. Yeah. Anywho.
I don't mind it.
And also, by the way, guys, I'm being sarcastic. I'm kidding. I don't actually care that much. It is just
I think
a funny,
you do care.
It's just a funny
I think you
thing.
care that much.
I do not.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Welp, I got nothing. Just wanted to annoy Brett."
Thank you.
It worked.
I appreciate that.
Shane H. Wilder, cringe of the day. Thanks. I hate it.
Yeah, sorry about that one,
right there
guys.
with ya. Also, I think the Dark Brandon post was done by someone on the right. It wasn't wordy enough to be done by someone on the left.
Yeah,
LOL.
but they don't have access to his account.
Well, they basically copied all of the right-wing memes about Dark Brandon.
I do love how like a left-wing meme is basically just like a novel.
Yeah.
It's got like 10,000 words. And
This exception was just them siphoning content from right-wing Twitter accounts.
It's still funny though.
But it was good. Carnell said, "I'm not all that curious as to whether Madam Web is going to be any good, but how will it hold up compared to early 2000s female superhero films like Catwoman and Elektra?"
Look, I still got a soft spot for Elektra, okay? I still got a soft spot for both Ben Affleck, Daredevil, and Jennifer Garner, Elektra. I do.
Were those like given a lot of bad reviews at the time?
They're just
or like
superhero movies weren't exactly in their heyday yet.
I mean, yeah.
When those came out. You know?
Corey Anderson said, "I want to see Mary fight Mindy for real 3 rounds." Not gonna happen.
I said we should
Not
get her
worth
on
my
the show,
time.
and then just I'll be like,
We'll bury the hatchet.
and I'll be like, remember when you guys got in that fight, and then just fight.
We'll have
fight.
a reasonable conversation between ladies, and we'll bury the hatchet. Gal Gadurp said, no problem laughing at my own group. What do you get when you put a dozen hillbillies in the same room? A full set of teeth.
I've heard that one before. That's good.
Shane H. Wilder said, I wrote a script with a character described as girl next door. Why? She was the girl next door archetype. These people can F right off.
Yeah, maybe what you say is it's not a stereotype, it's an archetype. That's different.
Wait, what?
Well, because he says it's the girl
What
next door
is supposed
archetype.
to be the difference between a stereotype and an archetype?
The intent,
Really?
I'm guessing, how you're supposed to perceive it.
Okay. Sorenko Productions said those DEI churches already exist, Mary. They're called Planned Parenthood clinics. Yikes. Gal Gadurp said, I think the wrestler John Moxley described people who get offended at a comedy club perfectly. Fragile ego, fragile body, weak mind, weak spirit.
Loves me some John Moxley, also known as Dean Ambrose. Remember the Shield.
Shane H. Wilder said Richard Pryor literally had a stand-up called What Was It Something I Said, with him getting burned at the stake. Two of the bits were shortage of white people and new N-words. It is hilarious.
I also think of like Ralphie May, who made the bit about like he's like yeah, like I don't think war in Iraq or Afghanistan's good, but these gas prices. He's like I go to the and the funny thing is the amount is like $2 a gallon or something like this. So he's like, I look at the gas, I'm like, George, light them up.
High Voltage 75 said, if the sub count somehow dips below 100K, then goes back up to 100K again, will we get another celebration show?
No, that's just a sad admission that you somehow like, backtracked and failed.
And it hopefully won't happen like that.
I will feel much better once we get to that 101.
We're putting you all in timeout if you do that to us. Gordon Shumway said, Brett, you now have to make a t-shirt that says, welp, anywho.
It's kind of like,
anywho.
I'm not doing that. So I wouldn't wear that. Not wearing I'm making a shirt that I wouldn't wear. All right, guys, we're just going to hang out. I want to know how the chat's doing. I imagine people are still like us, a little bit exhausted from yesterday's 400th 4-hour
Dakota
episode.
Johnson sounds like she's on Xanax all the time.
See, I would watch that movie like I would watch a movie called like Zan Man. It's just a guy on Xanax. It's just a superhero who's just zooted on Xanax the whole time, and he's just like
we could have a superhero for every drug.
And he's saving the day, but he's just saving it really slow, and the whole movie is shot in 120
well,
frames
it'll be
a second.
played by Lil Xan.
I love it,
obviously,
and he's just like, and like a lady's falling off a balcony. He goes, no, and he jumps very slowly to save her.
We'll have a drugs cinematic universe.
I'm so down to do that.
We could have an Adderall superhero.
That I could play
who
that
just
one. I could do that. I could
vacuums the entire world. Sorry.
Meth man. He takes apart your TV and puts it back together again.
Yeah.
Actually, that's how he saves the day. He writes computer code by taking computers apart. You know, in like a shed somewhere.
Mm-hmm. They'll redo X-Men, but it's just using Elon Musk's Twitter platform.
You should do that.
The Manic Mustache said, how do you get a one-armed, okay, I can't say that word, out of a tree wave?
That word does not offend me.
Well, we can't say it on YouTube, can we? Because it's a slur.
I watch I watch a wrestling podcast called I mean, I don't know if they're still together. It's like Don Tony and Kevin Castle, and Don Tony would always make jokes with that. Makes me laugh.
Is that technically, I mean, I know it's about...
As a Polish person, it doesn't offend me.
It's about white people, so it might be allowed on YouTube.
I think, no, it's about Polish people.
Yeah, but they happen to be white, therefore it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the rules anymore.
Somebody says Brett loves talking about drugs. He literally cannot stop. Somebody else brought up that she sounds that way, right?
Dakota Johnson. Yeah, it was the person in the chat.
Yep.
His superpower is to get high off all forms of rocks.
I mean, isn't that kind of what Bane is for? Bane has his...
Bucky Ducky said Mary would be good at the drug cinematic universe.
You would be. You would be fantastic. I still believe that you'd be fantastic.
Brett's
Don't
extremely
do it,
niche compliment.
Look, I also told her when she started with the Zins, I said, don't do it. But
I did it.
Nobody listens to me.
I did it.
One from Gordon Shumway says, wasn't that line in Kick-Ass 2 when he named the guy Black Death and Genghis Carnage? And the guy said, isn't that a little racist? And he replied, archetype. I like it. We get like if you were in like an HR meeting or like a meeting with corporate, they'd say, let's soften it to archetype.
Look at that.
What? Oh, just put it on screen.
It landed like that.
You can go.
That's cool. Should I move it now?
Yeah.
The moment's over. Okay. Gal Gadurp said, speaking of superheroes and drugs, the YouTuber Solid JJ has a hilarious anti-drug PSA for the Avengers. Captain America is pro-drugs, obviously.
Of course, he has to be. He's got the super soldier serum like pumping through his veins, stuff like that.
What was the chemical in Black Panther?
Oh no, not in Black Panther. You're talking about in Aquaman 2?
There's one in both.
What was it?
There's one in Wakanda.
Yeah, and what is the one? I was the Aquaman 2 one. Guys, does anybody remember what it was in Aquaman 2? Or a Calcum?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Okay, but what was the vibranium or something?
Oh, vibranium.
Vibranium?
Yeah. Yep, strongest substance in the MCU.
It's really stupid.
So Bucky Ducky says, Mary, sell me on Zins. Brett, sell me on no Zins. Because tethering yourself to any chemical that you have to pay for and may not always be available to you is a bad idea. Always.
Let me think of the most dishonest way to reply to that.
It'll make your life...
Coffee.
Again. What do you mean?
Coffee. I pay for coffee.
Yes.
That's also bad?
Yes. I mean, for the most part, controlled substances are worse because they could be harder to find. What if, for instance,
coffee enhances my life? Of course I'm going to pay for it.
What if you're out and you don't have an ID on you and you can't get your Zins? What if you're simply you're out late at night and there's no gas stations open to get any?
Well, then I wouldn't buy them. What's the big deal?
But I'm saying that not everybody's going to be able to just not do that at some point. If you get a chemical dependence on something, the idea
But what if I'm that type of person where I'm just going to be fine until whenever I can get them?
That's you, though. Not everyone's like that. I'm just saying it's not a gamble worth having. And a lot of people claim that they're that person and then find out later on that they're not that person.
What would happen? I start bumming cigarettes off of the ground in a gas station?
I mean, maybe not the ground.
I mean, it's like... It's a little bit far-fetched for me. I think that it's really a personality thing. And,
and yes, caffeine is still a drug. So
yeah, it's a drug, but I mean, it's something that enhances my life.
Yep.
I drink it every day, and I think that it's worth it. I pay for it.
Yep.
Same with nicotine. And if I didn't have the option, then I just wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we'll see one day if when Mitch McConnell or whoever it was gets that bill passed and they ban it.
I mean, purely out of spite, I would have to go to the black market.
Was that Mitch
That was
McConnell?
not Mitch McConnell. That was Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer, same thing.
That was Amy Schumer's evil uncle.
Disgusting old
I would
politicians.
almost take Amy Schumer over Chuck Schumer.
There's a...
After that.
I saw Alyssa says Amy Schumer. It was something about Amy Schumer being an A-list actress, and all it said is like, in what universe is Amy Schumer an A-list actress?
What is she then?
She's an A-list actress. I would say that she's a
B.
Or no, was it Amy Schumer or was it Melissa McCarthy? It was one of those two. It
Melissa.
It might have been Melissa McCarthy.
Well, after The Little Mermaid, maybe she's a B.
There's from Bucky Ducky says, do them responsibly. It's not a tether, just a fun. Okay. I'm not going to spend my life trying to convince anyone of anything.
So you would just say that for every person, the gamble of trying alcohol, of trying coffee, of trying energy drinks, of trying nicotine, all of these things.
I would not do it against the stuff that's over the counter that is more easily accessible. I'm not going to harp on. And I'm not going to harp on it if anybody's doing this stuff. As I say all the time, I don't give a crap what you do.
But basically your argument is you would be better off never trying that list of things. Like you would be better off never having a drink, never
doing a drug,
like
never smoking a
drinking
cigarette.
Coffee. I mean, you're basically like going full
coffee.
Mormon.
I'm not saying coffee. I'm saying you would be better off never drinking any alcohol. You'd be better off not smoking any cigarettes. You'd be better off not trying any feel-good prescription drugs or feel-good non-prescription drugs because the risk is far greater than whatever short-term reward is there for you. And I don't find that to be a ridiculous take.
I've known too many caffeine addicted fiends in my life to say that you know, you're good with over-the-counter things that you don't need to show an ID for.
All I'm saying is that the other stuff is inherently going to have a larger detriment on your life faster.
I also knew people who, this is bad, they like do recreational Benadryl, which is crazy. That can like cause you to hallucinate, right?
Yeah, it can. I mean, a lot of people do that. Like, it's like people who robo-trip and
It's
stuff like
so
that.
bad.
Yeah. There's some more here.
Shane H. Wilder said they can take our lives, but they'll never take our zins.
There you go.
You got it. Bucky Ducky. Oh, you read that one.
Yep. Corey Anderson says fart.
He just said fart, yeah. Gordon Shumway said, isn't Blade portrayed to be a drug addict with the serum that he takes?
Yeah, in the movie. Yep.
Carnell said, I'm sorry, but people who can't find themselves laughing at George Floyd jokes are a pain in the neck. I'll see myself out. Oof. That was a good one. Do we have any more?
Gal Gadot says, the screen shimmers and waves. We cut to a frazzled dwarf of a lady stretching on tiptoes to retrieve cigarette butts from a public ashtray. Brant shakes his head. I tried to warn you, Murray.
Murray.
The Manic Mustache says, all fun and games until you were trying to score behind a Waffle House. Well, it would be a Waffle Home. It wouldn't be a Waffle House.
Trying to score zins behind a Waffle House.
Look, all I'm saying is that, like for me now, right? Like, after getting sober, like, I don't have any, like, I'm not prescribed to any, like, prescription medications. Because one of the worst things about it was, like, imagine, like, you live a life where you're kind of tethered to these chemicals that you're getting. Most of the time back then, not legally. Like, you can't travel, you can't do anything because you have to constantly worry where it's going to come from, right? And all I'm saying is, like, anything that you have to take where you have to base your day around whether you have it available to you. And that could go for coffee, that could go for, depending on how much you like it, right? Or cigarettes, where it's like, I can't get my day started until I have them. I'm saying, like, go and do what you want. You know me, I don't give a crap. I'm pretty much all for legalists. I'm pretty libertarian on most drug stuff. But, like, the idea that that you would willingly do that is usually seems kind of stupid to me. I know people that started smoking at like 24. I'm like, bro, you lived through the target market era. You had all the information not to do that. But then I'm like, but I knew that, like, when I was young, like, I had in my family, there was a lot of alcoholism, right? That was very common. But I had a blind spot because at that time, I just didn't know that prescription drugs could be as addictive as they were. So it kind of caught me by surprise, and it was too late.
Do you have thoughts on the straight edge movement?
Do what you want. I mean, on the more judgmental side, I think that's dorky. I think that do what you want and leave it be. I find the kind of preaching of some of it to be stupid. But
I just never understood why it was associated with punk music. I don't really get
never really
history
of interest
behind it.
No, it wasn't ever really of interest to me. So
Bucky Ducky said, "Mary, are you high right now though while at work?" I mean, I really wouldn't consider nicotine as something that makes me high, but like, yeah, I consume nicotine at work. Pat the Plumber said, smoke some crack and find out, Mary. I'll pass on that. I don't think I'm going to dabble in crack.
I would highly recommend you.
Actually, I already did smoke crack on Alex Stein's show.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he introduced me to crack and ruined my life. Yep. So that phase of my life is already over.
The Manic Mustache says, 18 years clean, experiment with hair color, not drugs.
I've been telling everyone this is the way to go. It's better to experiment with hair colors than drugs, but also better to do neither.
Yep.
Don't dye your hair and don't do drugs.
Look, to me, it was always like my perspective on it is also colored by my own experiences, which it was a very hopeless time. So if I can, push down and say, look, do what you want, but I can confidently say to you that it doesn't, that 99 times out of 100, it's not a great idea. I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to tell someone, but do what you want.
You having kids is going to be so interesting because that impulse to say do what you want, I feel, is just not going to carry over. You're going to turn into an authoritarian because at that point it's like your entire life is in my hands because I'm your parent, and I like have to set these hard limits on you because you can't see what's around a corner.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but it's also everyone knows that your belief for others that you don't know is not the same as how you're going to treat those in your immediate life. My ability to infringe on your right to do whatever you want is not something that should matter, but my right to raise a child to this, to the morals and beliefs that you hold dear, that's expected of you. Mm-hmm. Just different expectations. So, all right, guys.
We have another one, though. Last of my kind said y'all are background noises while on an ambulance.
Nice. Let's go.
I hope you work on an ambulance and you're not in the ambulance as the patient.
What was the shirt that we were talking about? Like, just
almost worth your attention.
Pop Culture Crisis. Almost worth your attention.
Yeah.
We got one here from Prince. LEN, a black actor activist found and called David Lucas's mom and whined about the St. Jesus George Lionheart Floyd joke. It didn't end well for the caller. We'll have to look for that.
Okay, I haven't seen anything about that.
And one more here from the last of my kind says, also using Zyn to gaslight myself to enjoy running.
Good tactic.
There you go. OrganizedBusinessServices.com says, what the F did Alex Stein do, Mary?
We smoked crack on Alex Stein's show, but it suspiciously tasted like flour for some reason. I feel like that has a similar chemistry.
Gordon Shumway says, straight edge people are weird. I once got in a fight with a bunch of them because I was drinking a beer at a Fugazi concert. That's
they just come up to someone who's drinking and they start fighting with you. Like that's
stupid. Like, let people
not a
do
great
what they
way to
want.
bring people into your belief system.
It's like looking at militant vegans and expecting that to be something that's going to appeal to the general public. It's just
somewhat
not
similar. Yeah.
Suncoast Samurai says Limitless was a cool drug movie. Yes, NCT.
Yeah.
Also, a highly underrated TV show that only got one season. Had no right to be as good as it was. Hill Harper, Jennifer Carpenter. It was a lot of fun. You only got Bradley Cooper in like 4 or 5 episodes, but it was a lot of fun. It was really, really good.
Better movie.
Yeah,
I'll say.
I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I watched the show a couple of years ago, but I haven't seen the movie in a very, very long time. I should go on and rewatch that.
People post the clips and they're like me on Ativan.
Yeah. Concerta. Adderall.
Or no, the Vyvanse.
Yes.
Vyvanse.
I was going to say Ativan would be a downer, not an
Vyvanse.
upper. Yeah. Bucky Ducky says, Pat the plumber is advocating for crack. There is a joke in there about, well, I'm sure you got it. Yes.
I don't remember what the super chat was.
Well, it's a plumber in crack.
Oh, LOL.
Yes. Kelly K says, I just want to hear the party music again. Well, you're going to get it here very shortly. It is going to come up. Perhaps we should do the outro then while we wait. Mary, go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you.
Yes, you can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
There's also one more there from Organized Business Services.
This is great, Mary. This is why I hate Alex Stein. Okay, I was joking. For the record, he did not actually smoke crack with me on that show. It was fake crack.
I love the idea that that's like he's like, so what should we do today? We should smoke fake crack on the internet.
I had no warning. It was just like, you go in and you do whatever he tells you.
That's the bit, though.
That's the bit.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? And would you please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here already? It's been great to get to that 100,000 subscriber mark, but we want to keep growing. I'll feel a lot safer once we get to like 101 and we're not just sitting there at like an even 100K on the...
We're not actually going to go under 100K at this point.
I'm just saying, it's better to... It's kind of like when they say like if you lose a game, if you feel like you lost a game by 3 points in the NFL and it's like a bad call that loses the game for you, you didn't win... you didn't have the game won anyways. Like, we got to get to over 101.
We'll do it.
We do it. So we got to get there, guys. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music. Again, I don't know who uses Amazon Music, but we are. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen to this podcast rather than watch it. And if you want to follow the show on social media to see clips and whatnot, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We got one more here from Bucky Ducky. He says, how dare you smoke fake crack? Breaking character.
I'm sorry. I broke the fourth wall.
All right, guys. Oh, and I'm going to end the poll here for everyone. I also, I forgot that I did that. So with 38% of the vote, it looks like you're saying that you believe that Madam Web is going to be awful.
Just
34% of you think it's Morbin time. 16% think it's just going to be bad. And just 10% of you think it's going to be so bad that it's good. We'll have to wait and see. Guys, stay tuned for the post-credit scene. You will hear the Crisis Party music one more time. See you in just a few seconds. Bye guys.